It's been nearly a decade since Outside the Lines first examined how sports venues fare when it comes to the preparation and handling of the food that you eat at games. Since then, stadium food has grown to an estimated $2 billion a year business, from $5 hot dogs and $7 beers to pricier plates of sushi and filet mignon. Sports venues now cater to a variety of tastes. But does that mean venues are doing a better job when it comes to the safety of the food they serve? Investigative reporter Paul Levine now with information you'll want to know.
You're serving so many meals to so many people. If there was an issue, it's going to affect a lot of people.
You know, you got over here taking with this snow cone tray right there in the bathroom.
E. coli, Shigella, norovirus, hepatitis A. You have people who intentionally do things to harm people, and that leads to a biological hazard.
You thought she was going to die. She was that sick.
We welcome you to Yankee Stadium, a beautiful summer's evening.
And the Yankees take the field.
July 3rd, 2017, New York City. A group of fans settle into their seats behind home plate. One of them is Marlins Man, a 62-year-old South Florida attorney whose real name is Lawrence Levy. He has become a minor celebrity for wearing his trademark orange Marlins gear at sporting events across the country.
I brought, I think, 9 people as guests. 2 of them were friends and former co-workers, and it was a day game. And in the middle of the game, everything is fine.
But hours after the game, some of them started to feel sick.
I actually found the notepad, which I had saved. They were doubled over. They were vomiting, had cramps, headaches, felt like their appendix needed to be taken out. One of them went to the hospital. I didn't know it was food poisoning, honestly, until all the tests and they told her what it was. And then what I did was I contacted the Yankees and let them know.
The day after the game, he took to social media.
I put on Twitter what I went through, and then all of a sudden, other people started writing, holy cow, the same thing happened to me. I think 6 or 7 wrote back to me, but only 3 actually ever called and talked to me.
Levy says the people who got sick all ate the same thing at a Yankee Stadium buffet.
So now I called back the Yankees. I said, I figured it out. And it was the shrimp cocktail sauce downstairs. The Yankees were very, very concerned. Then the next day, this girl called me, who's apparently the head of Yankee Stadium, like food and beverage. And she says, like, we're taking this really serious because this has never happened before.
The Yankees are required by law to report any complaints of food-related illness. But the New York City Health Department does not have a record of the incident. Legends, the stadium's food service provider, disputes Levy's claim, saying that all food service operations adhere to the strictest of safety standards. Outside the Lines examined more than 16,000 Health Department food safety inspection reports for 111 professional sports venues across North America. The reports from New York City reveal that 79% of the food outlets at Yankee Stadium had high-level violations during routine inspections in 2016 and 17. Only 5 venues had higher percentages.
That's a really huge number that I was not aware of. It's actually disturbing if you think about it.
The venues at the top of the list were Spectrum Center in Charlotte, the Palace of Auburn Hills near Detroit, which has since closed, and American Airlines Center in Dallas. And then there are extreme cases like these. September 21st, 2018, at Comerica Park in Detroit, a food service worker is caught on camera spitting on pizza dough before covering it up with sauce. He was fired, pleaded guilty to a felony, and received 18 months probation. And then there was May 22nd, 2013, Minute Maid Park in Houston. A vendor is caught on camera by a fan, leaving his snow cones on the floor as he uses the bathroom. As soon as this video surfaced, he was fired.
You know, you got over here taking with this snow cone tray right there in the bathroom.
Social media is rife with complaints from fans of all sports throughout the country. But most of the ones we interviewed say they did not follow up with an official report to authorities. Some of the more typical violations, according to inspection reports, are foods at dangerous temperatures, employees not washing their hands, and pests. A mouse amid some Cracker Jacks, and live cockroaches in a box of M&Ms. On a Tuesday in late October, workers at PNC Arena in Raleigh are getting ready for that night's NHL game.
We'll use this on you real quick, okay?
Thomas Jumalon, a county health inspector in North Carolina, lets us join him to inspect stadium concessions in the main kitchen.
That go across the counter? Okay, if it went across the counter, then it needs to go in the trash. Okay. 37 degrees, that's great. It's good temperature.
Temperature control is key. Too warm or not warm enough, and bacteria can grow.
Okay, so that was 41 degrees. So this is open. All right, so we'll toss that. Whatever bacteria is there, the moisture in here will support that bacteria to grow. We want to make sure that we don't have anything like this. That should never have been accepted.
Despite the problems Jumalon pointed out during our visit, PNC Arena typically fares well in its routine inspections.
When fans see that there are certain violations, certain things found, like how should they take that?
I think everyone needs to look at it seriously, but also they need to ask the questions as really what was the violation? I mean, there can be some simple violations that can add up.
It may have been the rags that we saw laying around. It may have been the storage order, may not have been correct. It just takes that one time, and you're the recipient at that one time that it's not right. And then you'll say, I'll never come back here again.
Whether it's a hot dog, nachos, or a slice of pizza, at sports venues, so much food is prepared so fast by so many people, for so many people, the risks are greater for both the fans and the franchises. Just ask Marlins man.
Those people have refused to go back. The Yankees are willing to say, come on back, we'll give you free seats. And she goes, I'm not going back to that place. I'm never eating that food again.
Stunning report, just as shocking as this picture right behind me. I got to bring in Paula Levine, Outside the Lines investigative reporter. Okay, so how does the risk of eating at your stadium like that, compare to the risk of eating at, say, your corner restaurant?
Okay, so Ryan, this might make you feel a little bit better about eating that next pretzel. Stadium concessions actually score better than eateries in the surrounding community when you look at the average number of high-level violations per inspection for the 80 or so venues where we have that data. But food safety experts still say that the risk is greater because at a stadium, if something goes wrong, the number of people that can be affected are in the thousands compared to at a restaurant where you maybe have 100 or so people come through a day.
Truly scary. I mean, I don't know how I feel about my corner restaurant now, but still better than a stadium. Let me ask you this. What is the quality control like at these stadiums? What are they doing considering the fact that so many people are handling so much stuff and serving so many people?
Well, one thing that's important to know is that for most of the violations that we found, they were corrected on site while the health inspector was there. Not all of them, but most of them. And most of these big concession companies have third-party consultants that come in and tell them, you know, how to improve your facility, how to improve your food handling. And they do actually have quite a bit of training for employees, which, you know, is really necessary when you have a lot of temporary and volunteer workers. So
I have to ask you, if you're a fan and you get something like that that's behind us, what do you do? How do you address that when you see food that seems suspect?
Well, if you get sick, I would suggest seeking medical attention.
Of course.
I'm no doctor, but I would go that route. But, you know, one thing, you know, people do post on social media. That's one thing we've noticed a lot more over the last several years. But when you talk to those people, you find that few of them have actually taken the formal route of reporting to the health department. And that's what they really need to do.
Is that a time-consuming process?
No, it is actually pretty easy. You can go online. Most health departments have a form, makes it very easy for you to tell them what happened, when it happened. And health departments will look into these complaints.
Yeah, maybe helps the next person from getting a burger like we see over here. So what did you have that people should know that wasn't in the report that we just saw?
So one thing that I mentioned earlier is we have the comparison data for about 80 or so venues. If you go online, you can look at that. It's from a company called Hazel Analytics. And then also you can look at some of the individual violations for your local pro sports stadium. And I think people will be really surprised at what they find, not just in the gross out factor, but in what health departments actually consider a violation. And not only will it make you think twice or think differently about when you eat at a stadium, it'll make you think differently when you eat out in general, and maybe even stuff you do in your own kitchen.
You're just ruining all eating out of food for me right now. I'll tell you what, it's going to be a long time before I have a piece of pizza or a snow cone at a stadium, I got to admit. Paula, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Now, what's lurking in your stadium food? You heard Paula talk about it. You want to know how your favorite stadium or arena does when it comes to the food that it provides? Head on over to ESPN.com for Paula's in-depth investigation. Well, coming up, how badly do teams want Bryce Harper? Real bad. You got to see it to believe it. The Not BLT. Coming up next.